good morning, y'all. Good morning. Good morning, gang. Happy Saturday to all of you. Happy Saturday. Chris, what's up? Yeah, I'm telling you. Ow. Yeah, yesterday was a surprise. I mean, bullpen game. Yankees, right now they don't have the personnel to do that, right? You know, the main reason why, if you hit in here, Cam Schlittler was dealing with some bicep soreness in his pitching arm, so they scratched him and sent him to MRI. Everything came up clean, but that's why he didn't pitch yesterday. So they bullpenned it in the last minute, but they clearly don't have the arms here to do that. So, which is why they need to add some arms at the deadline. You know? And they are looking to add a pitcher and potentially 2 starters and a third baseman. So the only team I can think of, the only team I can think of that can give them all that in one trade is the Pirates. It's the only team I can think of. But that, would they do that? I guess they would if the price tag for Eugenio Suarez became too high, right? And they didn't want to give top prospect capital for rental players. Because all the guys that I mentioned, like Brian Hayes, Mitch Keller, David Bednar, Dennis Santana, all those guys have controllable years, right? They all have controllable years. So, but I agree, Chris, 100%. Got that arms down. I'm hoping that, after last night's just dreadful way of getting out of the gates, they add an arm today, or 2, right? I wouldn't wait until the deadline. I wouldn't do it. The price is just going to go up at the deadline. So, can they get a deal done with the team? And do they want to wait longer for the Diamondbacks to give an answer on Suarez while potentially losing opportunities to trade with other teams? Right? Do they want to do that? I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it. And the fact is, nobody moves the needle more with the bat than Suarez does. We know this. But on the Pirates, nobody moves the needle defensively more than Hayes. So, I guess but either one of those guys, Hayes or Suarez, would make it easier for them to bat Jason Dominguez at leadoff on a regular basis, which I know a lot of fans want, right? Exception last night, Giancarlo Stanton. So it really came through for the Yankees. In a pinch hit scenario too. Other than that, Yankees they look kind of lifeless. Now, we need to see improvement from a lot of these guys. Aaron Judge, too many strikeouts. Anthony Volpe. Yeah. Off of Spencer Strider. Spencer Strider looked way better than he usually looks last night against the Yankees. So, why is that? I don't know. That's why you have a stabilizing bat like Suarez here in the middle of the lineup. It balances the lineup a heck of a lot more than it did before. You have a guy like a Brian Hayes in here, better with the power form lineup, it still bounces the lineup in a different way, right? Jimmy, what's up? Nathan, what's up, brother? They're actively looking for a starting pitcher because they need one. One of the reasons why they're looking for an active pitcher is Will Warren is experiencing some fatigue right now. So they're actively looking for a guy. That's why Mitch Keller, his name has been brought up, because he's got controllable years. And let's just say they bring in somebody like Mitch Keller, then it makes it easier for them to not have to throw Luis Hill back to the Wolves, right? Think about this too. If, let's just say, Luis Hill comes back in a couple weeks, and again, he threw 57 pitches last night, and on the start got 7 guys in 3 1/3 innings, so it was a pretty decent start. But they're apparently building out to be a starter. But if they, if they used him and Ryan Yarbrough in long relief when they came back, they would save a lot of headaches to the bullpen. A lot of headaches. Yeah, they did lose John Kay. They lost 7-3. So, Brandon Moore, what's up? Spencer Jones, his name is being brought up in a lot of talks right now. Yeah, I don't think he's gonna go for Suarez or Cal. But I'll say this: as much as I don't want to trade Spencer Jones, I'd rather trade him to the National League if we do move him. But the Pirates at this point make more sense than the Diamondbacks because you can get multiple players and they all have controllable use. Right? Jonathan, good morning, my man. So, yeah, I crashed last night, so I didn't go live. My apologies. But that was pretty much the summary of the game last night, right? It was almost a lifeless offense. Giancarlo Stanton was the only pretty much contributor on the offensive side, and the Yankees do not have the pieces, the bullpen a game on a regular basis, so they don't. Yeah, sorry, Jonathan. Kids wore me out yesterday. I crashed. At the end of the game, I just crashed. No, that's why I'm going. That's why I'm live right now, just to kind of recap and chat with as many of you as I possibly could this morning while I'm on the bike. I just trained for about an hour. Now I'm finishing up on the bike, so getting that cardio in. At least I'm not like this, bouncing up and down like I do when I'm walking outside. So. I'm at the gym now too. All the machines. So I'm on the bike in the corner here, getting my cardio in. What do you see? They're using. Somebody brought up. Well, Seager has 2 rings. Okay. You think he would have won those rings without all those teammates? No. Right? But that's the talking point right now. Seager has 2 rings and hope he doesn't. Okay. Good for them. Good for him. He's also not worth $325 million, whatever he is. So, look, he is currently better than Anthony Volpe, yes, but I wouldn't say $300 million worth. Look at all the shortstops. Of all the shortstops in baseball, how many of them have 50 ribbies right now at the All-Star break? Hardly any. And Volpe's close, right? And again, his overall activity's got more putouts than most of the shortstops in baseball too. So he's busy at shortstop. So that type of stuff helps balance out his low batting average and his error total, right? But I just want you to pay attention. Ever since they moved Jazz to second, his fielding has been a little bit better, right? If they get a guy like Ryan Hayes third, then he's going to have good protection on both sides of the infield. So we'll see, right? No, Seager definitely. Hey, Ken, what's going on, man? Seager's not worth the contract. $325 million. Nah. Neither was Trevor Story, right? Worth whatever the hell he got. The only shortstop in that class that's been relatively worth the money is Trey Turner with the Phillies. He's been performing better than all the other shortstops. Yeah. But again, we know this. The Yankees try to develop their homegrown kids too, right? So they wanted to give Anthony Volpe a shot. I get it. And it was around the same time that all these guys signed big deals. Look at Carlos Correa. Is he going to be worth his contract? No, he's not. No. And people trash Cashman now. Boone for Volpe would be also trashing him right now if he signed any of these guys and they stunk too. Right? So, no. There is nobody to replace Volpe right now. You're right, Brandon. That's the question I ask all the time. Who are you going to replace him with? That's a credible answer. Nobody can provide an answer. Nobody. Right? So. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, that's the Yankees might pivot from Arizona. They might pivot from Arizona if the asking price is too high because As the ask is right now, Jones or Schlittler or both. You get Suarez and Merrill Kelly or Zach Allen or whatever. All those guys are rentals. Even Jalen Beeks, the reliever, rental. None of those guys are free agents beyond this year. So that's got to be factored in. And you want to give, 12, 15 years of control for a player for a 2-month rental? I don't think you want to do that. I don't think so. Dude. His batting average isn't the only thing, okay? It's not the only thing that matters. I'm not here defending Volpe. I pointed a few things out that you can't prove that are wrong or untrue, okay? Because they're true, right? He's at the top of the list for putouts, okay? Despite his 11 errors. But that's what happens when you have that much activity at shortstop, right? So, and he is performing in a couple of different metrics offensively in a way that most other shortstops are not. I'm not defending his .212 batting average. You haven't heard me say that at all, okay? But there are. Why are you pointing out things that aren't great instead of pointing out things that are great? Let me ask you the same question there, Morris. Huh? Why do folks do that? Always look for reasons to point out bad or trash players and so on and so forth when none of them can do the job better. Why do they do that? I do think Peraza will be gone too. The Yankees are also in on Danny Colombo from the Minnesota Twins, another reliever, lefty reliever with controllable years. So he's a guy I would keep an eye out for too. But let's just say they get Colombo and another reliever with controllable years to add to Devin Williams and Luke Weaver. And then when Fernando Cruz comes back, right, at least they have that in the bullpen. And again, I hope that they consider long relief right now for Luis Hill and Ryan Yarbrough to keep them healthy when they come back off the injury. Gilbert, what's up? No, I don't think Cabrera's returning this year. Jonathan, 0%. I'm not gonna risk it just to put him back here. He doesn't move the needle enough to rush him back. Well, exactly. He's a serviceable shortstop. He's not a superstar. We all know this. They had to, Jake. Cam Schlittler got scratched. He was supposed to start, but he had soreness in his bicep, and they sent him for an MRI. He was clean, but he had to pivot. Okay, and he already has Rodon and Freeze scheduled to start against Toronto, the better team. So he had no choice. He had to pivot. Yeah, I mean, I don't like the option, but it's pretty clear that we don't have the arms here to do a bullpenning game on a regular basis. So they need to add arms now, and this is why I keep saying long relief is a better option for Luis Hill if Schlittler's healthy, right? Just to keep Schlittler healthy and Hill healthy. So, but we'll see if they do that. And Ryan Yarbrough as well. Yeah, there are. Yeah, you're right about that too. There are a lot of needs, and I don't think it. I'm not sure they will. They're not going to gut the farm system for rentals. Anybody they give top prospects for is going to have controllable years. That's for sure. Volpe might be a stopgap. We don't know. But until then, well, Brubaker came in later, so it doesn't really matter the order, Jake. Doesn't really matter. Could the difference have been different? We don't know. But it's really not the big problem here. They don't have enough arms. And it's because of the injuries, which are not Boone's fault, which are not Cashman's fault, which are nobody's fault. Guys just get hurt, unfortunately. Well, yeah, and they ran through a couple arms yesterday, which is why I'm hoping that they make a trade sooner than later. All right? Okay. I mean, Hamilton's also shown the propensity to throw multiple innings. Unfortunately, he didn't last night. Neither did that new guy, Rico, whatever his name was, the guy that came in to replace him. Both those guys gave up, I think, 3 runs each. So, not the way I wanted to get out the gates after the All-Star break, that's for sure. So, what? If I'm going to keep pushing for Luis Hill and Yarborough for long relief, because that could be the difference between, you know, using 3 pitchers in a game and using 7 or 8, right? They won't go through pitchers that easily when you have guys that can come in and throw 3-4 innings at a pop reliably, and instead of having them throw them and expect them to throw 7 and have them get hurt and have them be on the shelf again. No. But we'll see. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. I mean, Chase Hampton, unfortunately, I mean, not having him, not having Oswaldo Cabrera, it's definitely obvious. And it stinks. Marcel, what's up, man? I got another 2 or 3 minutes here. I'm going to wrap it up at the gym. Been here since 7, since it opened. Got about 50 minutes of strength training and functional stuff, and then another 20 on the bike, 25 on the bike. Yeah. Well, they had no choice. Warren or Stroman would have been out of. Warren's also experiencing some fatigue right now, which is why they're looking at guys like Mitch Keller. So they have to protect the players that they do have, so they're not losing more starters. Warren's scheduled to pitch today, Stroman Sunday, so we'll see what happens. Maybe Warren needed the extra day. But it doesn't matter if they bullpen today, if they bullpen Sunday, they still don't have the arms, right? Until they make trades. And even if you sign David Robinson, he's not going to be ready for like 6 weeks anyway. He needs a ramp-up period. Rico Garcia, they claimed him off waivers from the Mets. Maybe 5 days ago, something like that. 5-6 days ago. That's where he came from. Waivers from the Schmetz. All right. Well, the other problem, there wasn't enough time to call Winans. And to get him here, right? And I don't know when's the last time he pitched, but Schlittler was scheduled to pitch yesterday. And then he was experiencing some bicep soreness, so they sent him for an MRI. The MRI did come up clean, but that was the second half of the day thing too. So didn't have enough time to make a roster move and get a guy ready to pitch and so on. So didn't have time to do it. I do too, Ken. I think they're going to make a roster move or two to get another. They need it. They absolutely need to, right? They need another bullpen arm. And man, we really need Hill and Yarborough to come back. We really do. Get my lifting gloves. All right, sit down for a few minutes here. Chat with my crew. Oh, damn. Workout done. Yeah. Yes, they do have to make moves. There's no doubt about it, Al. No doubt about it. Oh, you're right about that too, Celia. It stinks. I mean, last year they came stumbling out the gates after the All-Star break, and it wasn't only one game. It was for a stretch of, I think, 10 days to 2 weeks. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen again with the Yankees. I'm really hoping it doesn't. Yeah, Warren is tonight and scheduled for tonight, and Stroman's scheduled for tomorrow. So they're saving their big guns for the Toronto series. So But we need the bats to wake up. We need the bats to wake up. Stanton's the only guy that came through last night. Fortunately, so Judge struck out too many times, and Volpe didn't come through too many times. It's just, it was a collective effort. They look lethargic, right? They really did. You know, unfortunately. Well, I'm looking to see. I mean, I'm looking to see if they're gonna sign some more draft picks. Right now, I think that's the quicker they sign their draft picks, I think the easier they can pivot to the trade deadline and not have to worry about anything else. So I would expect them to sign a couple more today. And Pico Khan, I think he went over slot. Dax Kilby went over slot. And for those that don't know what slot means that's the money allocated for the round that they're picked in. That's their signing bonus. That's not their salary. So their salary is commensurate to the level that they're playing with. The signing bonus is just, if you're part of the top 20 round picks, then you get a signing bonus. Beyond that, yeah, Dominguez did strike out 3 times. Exactly. So, you know, whether Dominguez, doesn't matter. Grisham he got on base a couple times, right? And he hit the ball relatively hard. So at the leadoff spot. Yeah, last night was not a good night for Judge. You're right about that. It was definitely not a good night for Judge. So they've signed all but 2 picks now. They've signed 17 picks, Jonathan. That's good. I did not know that. I'd have to go back and check out the list. My guess is Vivas will get benched today. They don't really have. And if you had Oswaldo Cabrera here, one of these other guys, or another infielder, it would have been easier to bench him. But I mean, and he's a young player, a developmental player, so he's gonna have to learn from it. There's no doubt about that. But is benching gonna win the game? No. That was the least of their issues yesterday. Yeah, you're right. That well, we gotta make some. We need to have pitchers, man. 100%. Pick 16 and 19 not signed. Thank you, Jonathan. They signed every pick but 16 and 19. It's even better. Now they can get these 2 guys locked out and signed and get everybody else squared away. And then just lock in and focus on that line. Yep. And that to me is a good plan of attack if that's what they're doing. That way they're not distracted with anything else other than the trade deadline. That's the focus for the next week and a half, right? So, what'll be 11 days out, 10 days out, I think, something like that. So, right around the corner, the day the trade deadline's gonna be. So, But again, like I said, there's only one team. Yeah, right now they do, Felix. You're right about that too. You've got to do better against sub-500 teams. And they have a relatively weak schedule in August and September. So the rest of July is not going to be that easy. Obviously, they got Toronto after this, and they had the Phillies. So I'll be at the game on Saturday against the Phillies. So I'm looking forward to that. I hear that, Noel, yeah. I totally feel your pain, brother. Yeah, well, it's just they have another series against the Blue Jays after this, so they've got to rebound. They've got to redeem themselves, that's for sure. So. Why is Hayden Morris? Is he the JUCO guy? The big pitcher from JUCO was that the 18th pick? How come he doesn't expect to sign? Any intel, Jonathan? That's why it's so important to have Jonathan here, because he provides valuable information all the time. Him and I recapped the draft a couple days ago together, live time, and that was a fantastic collaboration. So thank you again, Jonathan. A lot of people saying the teams that are Well, let's see. Like I said, there's only one team that can address all needs. The Yankees have like 2 bullpen arms, third baseman, and a starting pitcher. That's the Pirates. Is that the team? Is that the right team in terms of overall balance? Maybe they have a trade history with them. So, and all the guys that are being considered have controllable years. So then you have, McMahon and Jake Bird from the Rockies, or Seth Halverson from the Rockies. That's a good pairing. And you have Suarez as one of the pitchers from the Diamondbacks. Suarez is the biggest bat of all three. But he's the weakest glove of the all three. He's also going to be the most expensive of all three. And he's a rental. So I know the ask right now is either Jones or Schlittler or both if they're going to pair a pitcher with Suarez. And that's a big ask. That's a huge ask for a 2-month rental. So, which is why I think they're probably going to lean towards the Pirates. Or maybe they can get some type of deal with the Twins as well, right? Or the Marlins. And wait and see what these guys do. But every day, I think Spencer Jones, if he keeps performing like this, I think he'll get a September call-up. If he's not traded, I think he'll get a September call-up. I think he deserves a cup of coffee in the majors. And again, if you look at the last couple of guys that were called up, Dominguez, Austin Wells, and so on, Spencer Jones is hitting better than all these guys who are in AAA. All of them. By a lot. So there is an argument to be made to call Spencer Jones up. There's also an argument to be made to keep in AAA, let him keep developing. So it really depends on whether the Yankees think he'll be better than guys that we might trade for, right? So, but again, the guys, if we're going to trade for an outfielder, then we're going to have to send out an outfielder. And we're going to have to. There's no room for Harrison Bader. Where's he going to play? If you don't trade Grisham, one of these guys is going to sit all the time. What's the point of bringing in Bader? I like Bader, but what's the point of bringing him in if he's going to sit? That to me doesn't really bring much logic. So, unfortunately. But we'll see. I think the team that makes the most sense is the Pirates. But again, none of them are the flat. I mean, the best piece from the Pirates would probably be Mitch Keller if he was part of the trade. Pitcher with control years. He's an upgrade over probably any of the arm we would trade for. Especially since Skeens and Scuba are not on the market. So, Mitch Keller's got, I think he's got 2 or 3 years, 2 or 3 years beyond this year of control. And, his contract's pretty solid. I mean, he's got like 16, 17 million a year, so it's not cheap. But think about how much some of these other guys are going to cost. That's crazy. And again, could the Yankees chip back something, right, to offset some payroll? Maybe. We'll see how much payroll room they give themselves. And just keep in mind, anything that they bring in is going to be doubled because they're over the throat contract. So they bring in $10 million in additional salary. That's going to be $20 million out of the salary, out of the payroll. So that's the way it is, being over the highest pay threshold. Yep. That's my take on Spencer Jones, gang. That's my take on Jones, but we'll let you all go. Go have a great day. I gotta go pick up Starbucks for the girls. They like Starbucks Saturday mornings, so have a great day. If I get any news on anything, I promise you'll get it. Be back later on with the lineup, and definitely I plan on going live after the game today. So my apologies for not going live last night. I did crash pretty hard. So I think Jones is coming in September too. And if he's still here, I can't wait to see him. So peace and love to all of you. You're the best. I'll talk to you later.